Welcome to the Scare Guys Show. This week we have two big topics to discuss. First, we are doing a rundown of some of the best horror movie film locations that you can visit, and a lot of us have. And secondly, we are going to debate, is TV horror dead, or is it still killing
Or is it undead?
Or is it undead? Is it breathing life? All right, this week on the Scare Guys Show. Stay tuned.
Welcome to Popcorn Talk, featuring movie discussion, news, and interviews. Popcorn Talk. We talk movies.
All right. What do you guys think? New theme song?
I like this theme song. I like it. Yeah.
We'll have to use it a little bit more. Welcome to the Scare Guys Show.
Sam, we've got to keep hunting things and saving people, Sam.
Where we cover everything from horror
What
conventions,
is it?
slasher movies, to your favorite haunted attractions. We're your go-to source for everything that's scary fun. I am Jim. I'm your managing editor. And we have a lot of other people in the room that are just as excited as I am.
Hi, I'm Derek. I'm a contributor to theconguy.com and an occasional guest here.
I wish I was in the band, but I'm just Jake Thomas, writer, filmmaker, and big horror enthusiast.
I'm digging this music. It's just keeping going. I like it. My name is Ben, and I am not drunk. No, Ben Cleaver.
He's very sad about that.
Very sad. Ben Cleaver, actor, comedian, con enthusiast, and regular contributor here on the show, and occasional contributor on the website. You can find me on social media at Ben Cleaver, BenKliEwer.
Yeah.
And she's been on the couch being watched by my dad hiding in the corner, so I'm on my best behavior tonight, and I'm with ScareGuy.com.
The best,
All right.
the
That's
best
all I
part
can say right now.
is that we can all hear the music in our headphones that's playing on the podcast right now. But Cheese's dad can't hear anything but us talking.
He doesn't
We're
hear
all
this
like,
awesome
yeah! He's like, what's going on?
And Papa
He's rolling with
Cheese. We call him Papa Cheese.
His name is Anakin Cheeseman.
He is on East Coast time, so he's barely awake right now.
Yeah.
And you guys have had like a crazy couple of days anyways.
We've been to Disneyland. I got this nice little Indiana Jones hat.
Nice.
It doesn't quite fit this show. It could be a Freddy hat, though.
Oh, yeah.
That's true.
I don't know.
It's terrible,
But he's also responsible for getting me into a lot of the fandom type stuff. We watched the old 60s Batman and Robin together, so I'm wearing my old school Adam West Batman shirt in tribute.
That's kind of cool.
He did also take me to Jurassic Park. I almost wore that hat.
The movie or the island?
Both.
Costa Rica, huh?
He did take me to Hawaii.
Yeah.
Where it
Oh,
was
yeah,
actually
yeah,
filmed.
I have an island off the coast of Costa Rica.
Speaking about locations, that's one of the big topics we will be discussing tonight. So tonight we're going to go over three things. First, we're going to go over a rundown of some of the conventions coming up. I'm hoping Derek can help me with that part.
I can read. Yes.
He can read. He's just like any other newscaster. And then secondly, we are going to be talking about a lot of the cool locations that people can still visit. Most of the locations we'll be talking about are kind of classic horror films that have, been through the ages, and everybody
Stood the test of time.
Stood the test of
The
time.
ones you watch every Halloween, every October.
Exactly,
It's like
exactly.
the go-tos, the must-haves, the must-watches.
If you're into
the
that
must-views.
kind of thing.
And Derek is going to suffer through this. I love it when Derek comes on because he's kind of like the guinea pig.
Kind of, I guess.
And then on the second half of the show, we're going to be talking about whether or not horror on television really is thriving or not. Whether it seems like there's been a lot of changes, a lot of things have been going on, and so that's what we will talk about. And in that vein, I'm going to say that our very good friend Katie, Christine,
KT Christine.
KT Christine.
Yes.
KT underscore Christine. And then, Katie's Fairy Tale is all her cosplay stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
So anyway, she is feeling under the weather tonight. Otherwise, she would have been with us. She did text in a little bit of something, an opinion or here. But Katie also sent us a very cool photo. And wait. One more person to introduce. Our engineer extraordinaire, Steve.
Hey, what up, y'all?
Hey,
Hey,
Steve.
Steve.
How we do?
We are doing good. We're doing
star.
good. All right. Guys, isn't that an awesome graphic we have for the show tonight? I'm enjoying that.
I like it.
All right. But we also, hey, Steve, I don't know if...
Can I be the house in that graphic?
There is another graphic that Katie sent in
if I can be Gary.
from Universal Studios. I think we might have that one. Yes, right there.
Ooh.
So if we can take a look at that. For those of you who are listening,
that's cool.
what we are looking at is, Katie sent this to me last week. Universal Studios has created a giant mural on their back lot of the classic movie monsters.
very artistic.
But they've done it very, very contemporary. Like if you look at them, it's a contemporary artist. I forgot what the guy's name is, but he's adding all kinds of like commentary and different crazy rock and roll imagery within the classic movie monsters.
It's like scenes from each of those movies on their faces incorporated into the coloring of it. Is that what I'm saying? Yeah, it's really neat.
That is what that is. If you are listening only, go to theconguy.com. We will be posting this picture. Man, that looks awesome.
Yeah, that's really cool.
That looks so great. I love that they have the creature from the Black Lagoon up there. They have Dracula, the Bride of Frankenstein, Frankenstein's monster. Notice
Wolfman.
Yeah, it's awesome. So anyways, we'll put that on our website for you guys to take a look. But one reason why this makes me super excited is because there's been talk that the reboot of the classic movie monsters from Universal kind of went a little bit down. Kind of went on the bye-bye. But Jake?
But is Blumhouse doing like low budget?
Yes.
Gonna come and be like, let's go small. Let's not make it huge, expensive. Mommy, let's go nice, soft little
Invisible Man.
Yes.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say, isn't the Invisible Man is the new reboot?
Yes.
And talk about an inexpensive monster. The one you can't see is a great place to start.
The Invisible Man was great in that movie.
Yeah.
So
Cheese's dad is essentially the Invisible Man on our show tonight.
There you go.
He's actually right beside me.
Yeah.
They should
And
get
he's
him to
about this
host the
big. That's
Oscars
why I'm
next
looking
year.
down.
The Invisible Man.
he couldn't do any. Yes, he could do worse. But
No, the Oscars were great without a host. I thought it was fine.
real quick, what did you guys think?
It was certainly faster without a host.
I know, right?
Only by
Yeah.
12 minutes.
Well, still.
So
No, I got the biggest laugh out of the press release that went out this morning from the Oscars. The new faster Oscars, 12 minutes faster. I'm like, really? It was instead of 3 minutes and 22 seconds.
that is
I mean,
progress.
22 minutes.
You know?
Yeah, whatever. Anyways,
No horror representation.
I know I was kind of bummed about
Not
that.
like Shape of Water or any of this.
Yeah.
I mean,
No
Guillermo
Get
was,
Out. There's no Get Out this year.
Guillermo was a presenter, so
Yeah, you got that.
you get that.
Black Klansman's kind of horrific. No, I mean the story.
The concept of
there's
the Ku
certainly
Klux Klan
disturbing
is
Yeah,
horrific.
that's pretty
yes.
horrific.
Yeah.
I didn't need the story. I don't want Spike Lee to go running out of the back of the theater on me now.
Right.
That was crazy. All right. Let's go ahead and get started. First topic, bulletin board. These are some of the big conventions that you guys can get involved with.
yeah, so coming up March 8th to 10th is Monster Mania Con in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. And the week after that, March 15th to 17th, is Horror Hound Weekend in Cincinnati, Ohio.
Which is one of the biggest in the country. It's
They're gonna have
huge.
They're gonna have a lot of chili at that one.
Yeah. Oh.
Cincinnati, Skyline.
Cincinnati, Skyline Chili.
Skyline Chili. Cheese, you know all about that. That's your neck of the woods.
Yeah.
Folks at home, put chili on noodles and sit back and enjoy. It's great.
We were talking about that recently. Was it with
Cincinnati
Patty?
treat.
A little
bit
Patty.
sweet.
Yes.
It's either a
Onions and
5-way or
cheese.
3-way. Your dad was educating us in the
Yeah.
car. 5-way or 3-way. 3-way is
It is chili, cheese, and noodles.
All right.
But lots of cheese. With the 5-way adds onion and beans. But I think with the 4-way, it could either be the onion or the bean. So
we're
it can
losing
be a little
we're losing
flexible.
viewers. Come on.
We are not. Look up Skyline Chili. You could probably order cans to your home.
So
sorry
you
that
can
I
do
brought it
that
up.
and Horror Hound Weekend,
Yes.
March 15th to 17th in Cincinnati. And then the following weekend, March 22nd to 24th, is Spooky Empire in Orlando, Florida. And then April 6th is Spook Show 7, which is Los Angeles Halloween Club near Disneyland.
I was very sad to see that one of the Halloween clubs is closing. You know, there's 2 or 3 of them along the highway down towards Disneyland. I think they're all part of the big whatever. One of the warehouses is closing, so that was kind of sad.
Yeah. And then April 14th is Monster Palooza in Pasadena.
Who is that?
Me.
Monster Palooza.
All right. So there's an event here also that is kind of interesting. And Jake, you were
This
asking.
does sound cool.
I was, because I was like, I like Scary Movies Experience, is what it's called. The Desmond in Los Angeles. First, for those that don't know, where is the Desmond? Tell
It's on
us.
Wilshire Boulevard.
on
Great.
Wilshire.
All right. So,
It's actually right down the street from where Brie works.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know what the Desmond is.
It's just an old like Art Deco building.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's like an old office building. I used to go to meetings like these like actor meeting things there that met there once a week.
oh, I do know that.
I think I do know
That'd
where
be a
it's at,
great
yeah.
place to have something, especially harkening back to the Universal monster.
So
stuff.
what is the event?
Oh.
Anyway, so the phrasing here is a groundbreaking immersive art installation, which intrigues me
Yep.
because now I'm wondering, like, ooh, how inexpensive are these tickets if it's an art installation? I'd love to go. That is a true celebration of some of the most beloved horror films: The Shining, The Overlook Hotel, Beetlejuice's Graveyard, The Netherworld Waiting Room, Freddy's Boiler Room, Lost Boys, Pennywise. All these things are kind of representing. It sounds like you're going to be able to walk through it, and they have more information at their Instagram at I Like Scary Movies Experience.
That's correct. And it sounds like these are Warner Brothers movies.
There's a few in there. You got Shining, you got Beetlejuice, you got Lost Boys, you got Fred. Yeah,
They're all. Yeah.
yeah.
Well, some of them are probably. I mean, Nightmare on Elm Street at least. A couple
New
of
Line
those are-
Cinema,
they're
New
New
Line
Line,
Cinema.
yeah. Warner Brothers owns now.
Yeah.
So it's going to be, and I was reading the comments. They also have a Facebook page, and they did say that it's not going to be jump scares. It's not like a haunted attraction.
Again, ooh, this
Yeah.
sounds more interesting.
Yeah. So they said you can bring your kids if they can take this kind of stuff.
Sure.
Bring
right.
your creepy twin kids.
They'll fit right in.
All right. So
I hope we have twins someday, just for that purpose.
speaking of twins,
You're looking right at me when you said that.
No, I meant sorry. I hope you and your wife have twins.
I hope we
I
have
hope
twins.
my wife and I have twins.
I don't wish that on anybody. So speaking of horror,
It's a time saver.
Speaking of horror film locations and celebrating them, the next part of our show, we are going to be talking about some of the top locations across the country that you guys that all of us can go visit. And I've been at a number of these. I'm a big junkie when it comes to visiting horror film locations. It's one of my favorite things to do. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and talk about perhaps some of the California-based ones first, because a big part of our audience is here in California. And I know, Cheeseman, you have visited a number of these. What's the big location in Southern California that we hit like every year?
Halloween.
Halloween.
The original Halloween. Where can we see all the locations from Halloween?
Well, we have put a video on
Yes.
YouTube that you could watch that we've collected some of the highlight. We haven't quite hit them all, but we did hit a bunch of them, and like such as the Laurie Strode house, the Michael Myers house, the houses where she was babysitting where Laurie Strode, the two that are across each other right there in Hollywood. Which you'd be surprised it's so close to Hollywood, but like it's just. Awesome.
It's cool. And most
I
of
can't
them,
talk right now.
a lot of them are in. He just got done with a day of skiing, so
Yeah, it's been a long day. I didn't even know I was going to be on the show.
Wait, where were you skiing?
Mount Baldy.
And you came all the way back down.
And then I stuffed myself with Korean barbecue, and then
That's
now
that
my mind is
smell
all,
you're smelling
almost-
right now.
Yeah, you're smelling.
What
Nice
else would
Korean
you
barbecue.
do on a Monday?
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
Can't fit anything else in.
Other than Casa Vega.
But like most of the locations from Halloween are in two locations: South Pasadena, which is, I think I have the exact location. The Strode house, the Myers house, the cemetery, the hedges. They're all.
well, the cemetery is actually Sierra Madre.
Yep, Sierra Madre is the cemetery that where the big tombstone that says Sinclair on it.
Now these are real houses.
These are real houses
with real people.
Yep.
That reside in them to date currently.
Yep.
Yeah.
You
So
head on
And
down
then
to
it's
South.
Lake Hollywood is where he escaped, right?
Right.
Where they pulled up to the gate at the beginning.
But for most part, if most people, for the uninitiated, go to South Pasadena, get on your phone and just, look at theconguy.com or
And
thescareguy.com.
we'll post this on the show link, right?
Yeah, we're going to link out to this, but also just go to our site and search for Halloween Tour. And we take you through all the South Pasadena stops and some of the Hollywood stops. Now, what's cool about the Hollywood stop, it's very, very close to another iconic 1984 horror movie from Warner Brothers.
Nightmare on Elm Street.
Nightmare on Elm Street.
Oh, yes.
Right. Over there in 1428 North Genesee Avenue is the Nancy
It's
House.
Genesee.
Is it Genesee?
That's how we always pronounce it. I live a few blocks away from Genesee, so
Well, I'm going to defer to you because
I think that's how I've heard it pronounced.
How did
so.
you say, Jim? Genesee?
Genesee.
Genesee.
I think it's a soft G.
So what's
Genesee.
it's cool because it looks exactly like it did in 1984. The
is cool.
owners have kept it. They have did they have a red door in the movie?
For Nightmare on Elm Street?
Yeah.
I forget, but one of the most amazing scenes involving that house is actually from New Nightmare, Wes Craven's New Nightmare. It's when the actress, Heather Blankenship, runs out of her house and then turns around and suddenly she's in the movie.
I love that.
Yeah, that's the super meta one, but that scene I'm like, oh my gosh, but I think it was red.
I think it was red.
Yeah, with all these houses, things like the fact that they preserve it is so nice because so many times what you find is when people buy a house and lo and behold, it's an iconic landmark.
Like Full House.
They get a lot of visitors,
Yep.
and then they get eventually tired of the visitors, and they plant a big shrub somewhere or change
Yep.
the paint so people are deterred away.
Yep.
Or like the Brady Bunch house, they start.
I was about to say that.
Yeah,
Same thing.
Yeah.
They changed the whole facade.
They changed, but I guess they're adding a fake second story now to go back to what it looked like on TV because there's a fake second
There's
story.
a redo. It's the Brady kids have come back to redo the house.
Yeah, like
Nice.
HGTV or somebody bought
Yep.
it. There was this crazy bidding war, and like Lance Bass was trying to buy it.
Yeah.
to restore it, and then one of those
The
channels.
thing that's cool about the Strode house from Halloween and the Nightmare on Elm Street house is that the neighbors have kind of embraced it. Like, for example, across the street, right next door to the Strode house in South Pasadena, during Halloween, the neighbors put Michael Myers in the window staring at the Strode house, which is really cool. I thought that's great. And on the porch of the Strode house, they have pumpkins, and they encourage you to come up and grab a pumpkin and take a picture on the famous stoop where Jamie Lee Curtis is out front.
I think it's only been stolen once, if at all, right?
What?
The pumpkins.
Yeah, the people usually leave them there.
People have been super chill about it.
Really super chill. And then the Nightmare on Elm Street house across the street is the house where Johnny Depp's character was killed. Ooh. It's kind of across and a little bit off to the left.
Mm-hmm. And, waterbed.
And during Halloween, they put a silhouette of Freddy Krueger up there in the window like he's killing somebody. So it's really fun the way they do that. All right, this next house, I am wearing the T-shirt. Mm-hmm. Does it say Timberline on my shirt?
It says Overlook Hotel.
Okay, same thing.
Sidewinder, Colorado.
All right, so Timberland Lodge is from The Shining. It's at 27500 East Timberland Road, Government Gamp, Oregon. That is the place where Stanley Kubrick filmed the exterior for the movie, right? Yes. Although Stephen King's inspiration was for the Stanley Hotel was
the Stanley Hotel.
Oh, it was the Stanley Hotel in Colorado. So they are a little bit different.
Which I've been to.
The Stanley?
I've been to the Stanley in, I believe it's in Estes Park.
Yeah.
Which was also the hotel in Aspen that they stay at in Dumb and Dumber.
I didn't know that.
Really?
And they shot the remake of The Shining
at the Stanley.
At the Stanley, or the exteriors of it at least.
The TV version.
The TV version, yeah.
I wonder where they're shooting the sequel. It's probably not based up there though.
Yeah.
Has anybody read the book? Dr. Sleep?
Mm-mm.
All right. All right. This next one is kind of obscure because most people have not seen the movie The Fog. It was John Carpenter's second movie after Halloween. He made this movie before he made Halloween 2. Anyways, Point Reyes Lighthouse is located in Inverness, California, and it is open, and it's very hard to see because it's always shrouded in fog. It's what it's known for. All right. We were talking before about this next.
Well, this one is pretty much preserved exactly how it appears on film, and it's appeared in a lot of other stuff. But the Psycho House, probably the most famous landmark on the Universal Studios backlot. So if you visit the theme park, we take the backlot tour, you will see the Psycho House and the Bates Motel.
Yes.
And probably a murder take place.
And it's cool during Halloween Horror Nights while you're there. You can get a picture taken with it.
Yeah, with Norman Bates. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because, they often have an actor playing Norman Bates on the regular tour anyway. Sometimes they'll come out and just chase the tram car a little bit or something.
Speaking of Universal backlots.
Oh, yeah. So
who else?
So
what else?
Psycho is just one of, as we were talking about earlier, many of the great monster movies and the great horror movies that they made back there. And a lot of those sets they made that were standing in for the Transylvanian villages and like the streets of Europe and Dracula, or like the big square in Paris, France, where Quasimodo is whipped and flogged when he is like, that's all still present there in the Universal backlot.
Is that the area that's now the Good Place?
Yes.
Okay.
And adjacent to it, yeah.
Okay.
One place they haven't shown so much on that, but those European streets, yeah.
That's cool. What about, I heard you guys discussing Gremlins before the show.
Oh, yeah, Gremlins. Gremlins filmed actually between a lot of the Universal backlot, and then a lot of the houses in Gremlins were the Warner Brothers backlot. So they went back.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it was shared. So with Universal, it was that same town square that you see as Hill Valley in the Back to the Future movies.
Why?
And the one house where the mean old lady gets thrown out the window.
Mrs. Deagle.
Mrs. Deagle,
That's
thank you.
right, Mrs.
Yeah,
Deagle.
that's at Warner Brothers.
Her house is on the corner of Kings Row and Midwest Street on the Warner Brothers backlot.
Which we're going to be jumping into that. Wait, you know what? Since we are there, since we have crossed that bridge, Jake, could you tell us a little bit about the Warner Brothers backlot and what people could see there? What classic horror films?
Yeah, a lot of their stuff. If you like 80s nostalgia, you'd like the horror movies represented there because Gremlins is one. Shane Black did a little movie called Monster Squad back in the day.
Heard of it?
Yes. If you watch that movie, the entire third act climax is basically that same street where Mrs. Deagle lived and the Gremlins were running amok.
Oh, nice.
And later on, that same street was where Elvira, Mistress of the Dark, filmed.
Yeah.
Elvira, Mistress of the Dark.
She's trying to come back on Netflix, by the way.
That makes sense.
Good for her.
There's the most recent one there was Annabelle Creation,
which is
they
super
filmed
cool.
They filmed outside this little white chapel that's just standing there, which was also a location used for one of your favorites, The Lost Boys.
The Lost Boys,
Yeah,
yes.
the Coreys grab holy water from that church.
Yep.
So
That's very cool.
Lots of stuff like in that pocket right there. Lots of stuff.
There's even wasn't there a scene from The Exorcist was filmed somewhere on that lot? I may be wrong.
Yeah, no, that's pretty much location shooting.
That's just movie lore.
But that's one of the locations you have here that we can see around LA.
Oh,
Or
what's
no,
next?
sorry, not LA.
Washington, D.C.
Yeah, that's in
Washington
D.C.
D.C., yeah.
Which is where The Exorcist takes place.
Yes.
That makes sense.
Georgetown.
Yeah, the famous steps.
I know the book, not the
The
movie.
famous steps towards the end of The Exorcist. Is this a spoiler warning? Can we just talk? Oh, there's a famous scene on those steps behind The
Let's
Exorcist.
say that much.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
That
Is it a spoiler for a movie that came out in the early 70s?
1973. I don't know. And Rob Lowe recently posted an Instagram photo of him taking a run up those steps. Exercising.
Nice.
It's kind of cool. This next,
Rob Lowe showing off again.
you know what? I was talking the other day.
I'm in my 50s.
I know, for crying out loud. He looks like he's
Look
still
at how great I look.
22. But like he's becoming one of those people like an Adam West or the people who become
A caricature
of
of
themselves.
Yeah.
William Shatner. Rob Lowe is about to become that.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
good.
I
It's
can
kind
see
of
that.
cool. But his is really likable.
Hey, man, lean into it, I say.
Yep.
That's... If you're making a career out of it, go for it.
All right, one of my favorite movies. This is who directed this? This was Brian De Palma. Directed the original Carrie.
Yes, that's De Palma.
De Palma, which I think is one of the best horror movies ever made, and it's not true horror all the way through. It's just such a drama and such a tragedy. But the gym scene was actually filmed down in what is now the Hermosa Beach Community Center, the exterior, because they recreated the interior on a stage, of course, but the exteriors were down in Hermosa Beach, which is, by the way, you can still go visit. All these places we're telling you, for the most part, you can visit. You got to pay for some of them.
Some of them.
Yeah.
If it's an enclosed private property studio lot, then you have to pay
Yeah.
some money.
And if it is somebody's house, please do not be bothering people. Don't go up on the front porch and knock and
And wear a
them.
mask while you're doing it. Don't do that.
Oh my.
Fun fact, De Palma, while casting Carrie, held auditions the same time as director George Lucas while casting Star Wars.
Are you? Oh,
Oh.
So it was a lot of the same people reading back and forth for those movies.
that's fantastic.
Can you
Yeah.
imagine if like Sissy Spacek and
As Princess
Carrie
Leia?
Fisher had been switched?
Swapped out, yeah.
Another.
There's another Fringe thing where
There's a parallel universe.
parallel universe, yeah, where that happened.
Yeah.
Another little piece about Star Wars. Empire Strikes Back was filming on the same stages as The Shining.
That's true.
Yep. And Stanley Kubrick came over to observe how the snow was being made in Empire Strikes
Oh.
Back because he was very interested in that, and he used the same technique in The Shining.
Which is why, if you look carefully, you could see an AT-AT Walker in the background.
I
Not
wouldn't
really.
put it past Kubrick to do something like that. All right, this next one is this one cracks me up. This next couple of there is a particular movie which I've always wanted to see, which I have not because it just sounds so stinking brutal. It's the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I'm a big wimp. I'm going to see it this year. You've seen it, haven't you, Cheeseman?
Yeah, I've seen the original, and then I saw the
We should
remake.
watch all 17 of them. That'll be a fun weekend.
I did see the weird part 2 or 3 with McConaughey in it or something. Like me and my friend
Literally,
Jake used to
there's
laugh
like
at
there's
all
the
these.
original, and then there's 4 different sequels to the original, except they're all different timelines. And then there was
You
a
should make your
remake.
timeline thing with the Texas
I
Chainsaw.
should do
Oh,
my,
yeah.
my flow chart for Texas
Yeah,
Chainsaw Massacre.
totally.
But have you guys heard about what the famous gas station where they stop and they get directions and everything? It is no longer a gas station. It is now a horror-themed barbecue joint with cabins out
Something
in the back.
just seems right about that.
I think it's genius. I love that.
Our meat's so good, you'll get hooked.
Waka Waka.
And I think the actual house. Do I have it on? Yeah, the Sawyer,
Sawyer House.
is a restaurant called the Grand Central Cafe in Kingsland, Texas. The owner bought it and moved it
Texas.
piece by piece over there, and people are stopping by all the time to have their pictures taken. All right,
Nice.
what else do we have on the list?
Rosemary's Baby.
Hail Satan.
What?
I've seen that movie. Yeah.
That's a
It-
quote.
By the way, that's a quote from the film.
Ben,
Yeah, I guess that's
You
also a
all know
quote from
that.
the film.
Who hailed Satan recently when he won that award?
Christian Bale.
Christian Bale,
He thanked
yes.
Satan for inspiration for his role.
I think he
Yeah.
was talking about Dick Cheney, though. I mean, in his mind,
He was making a joke.
I'm not
wasn't
being political
He
here.
wasn't literally thanking Satan. I think he meant it as a joke. Yes.
And people thought he was being like supporting the Church of Satan. I'm like, come on,
No,
people.
I don't think
take the
that's where
joke.
he was
You know,
going
the
with
Church
that.
of Satan doesn't even believe in Satan.
I know.
Anyway, where
okay.
were we with that?
But now
Oh,
they're getting free
Rosemary's
publicity,
Baby.
apparently.
Yeah.
The
Rosemary's Baby.
Bramford. If you're in New York City, go to the Bramford, and you too can see the Spawn of the Devil. Well, not the Spawn of the Devil, but where they filmed that classic horror film.
Hail Satan!
And also something else very, very bad happened at the Bramford Hotel. John Lennon was shot there.
Yeah.
So it's very famous. But it's actually called the Dakota. It's the Dakota Apartments.
Oh, sorry.
It stood in for the Bramford. All right, this next one, Friday the 13th. This is kind of funny. Camp Crystal Lake was filmed at a camp called Camp Nobi Bosco. I'm sure I'm butchering that. It's a Boy Scout camp, and they still use it.
Did you write that out phonetically, or is that how they actually spell the name of the camp?
The actual name on the sign.
Well, I'm sure it's
Oh my
short for something. Like the
gosh.
Bosco is probably short for Boy Scouts.
Yeah.
And like Nobi, who knows?
Oh, I bet you it's North.
Yeah,
North Beach?
something.
North
Boy
Beach
Scouts.
Boy Scout.
Yeah,
Nobi
something
Boy
like
Scout.
that. Nobi Bosco.
And they've had a couple of private events rented out for horror fans, and they sell out in seconds.
Oh, I'm
but
sure.
they don't
Yeah,
have very
right.
many because they want to preserve the Boy Scoutness.
That
of
would
the
be a
camp.
cool
Sure.
place. You go camp out, and then in the middle of the night, they have somebody dressed as Jason dragging you out.
We should go
Wouldn't that be
scuba
fun?
diving there, Luke.
We should.
You know
See
they
if
do.
there's any deformed kids at the bottom of the lake.
Several husky masks.
You know they do
It
that.
was
in-
fun to see you look for
How am I
an
going to end
appropriate
this?
word.
Oh my gosh! But you know they do that in Griffith
form
Park. They have the horror camp out where Jason shows up and drags you out of a tent.
That's right.
You have to sign all kind of waivers and stuff. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, there are some things I'm not gonna do.
Yeah.
Some things I'm just not gonna do.
Yeah.
Not gonna
Speaking
do
of
it.
which, this next house has gone to great lengths to conceal its identity. So, but it's not doing a very good job. The Amityville Horror was a sensation in 1979. I think that movie came out. Oh, it might have been earlier than that. It's late 70s when all the good horror films
The
were.
only one of us who was alive then. I'm sorry.
No, there's somebody else in the room.
Yeah, but he's not with a
The
mic,
Invisible
so-
Man was alive.
This is true.
that's
Jim is over 700 years old.
Oh my gosh, I'm about to hit a big one. But we're not talking about that one. We're talking about the Amityville Horror, which was originally at 112 Ocean Avenue. That was one of the most famous addresses in the country during the time. These people, the Lutz family, were all over, not social media, almost said social media, all over talk shows. They were making
would be
the
impressive,
circuit,
I think.
and they convinced the entire country that they'd been chased out of this house by evil spirits within. It's up for debate whether that really happened. 1 year prior to them moving in, Ronald Defoe, is that his name? Ronald Defoe killed his entire family in that house, all 6 people. And so there's a lot of bad blood there. But the movie came out, and right now, if you would like to see it, it's now at 108 Ocean Avenue. So they didn't hide very well.
So wait, did they film the movie at the actual house?
They did not.
Okay.
Okay.
You know what?
So what is this location?
Oh, this is the actual real house.
This is the
real
real
house.
house.
Yeah, so
where
it's even better.
Where the events allegedly happened, where the murder and the alleged
Yes.
spirits
When
are.
you say better, do you mean more good?
Spookier.
Okay.
They should do the Real Housewives of the Amityville Horror. That would be an awesome show.
For the record, I messed up here. I should have found the location because they did find a location in the same city where they filmed
Oh, wow.
this. So
well, you've really dropped the ball here, Jim.
all right.
No, I posit that this is actually a really good premise for a horror movie where people are hitting famous locations from horror films and then they accidentally go to one that the real thing happened to and bad things happen.
I want in on this.
Gosh,
I want
write
in
that
on this
down.
project. Jim and Luke, I want to write this with
log
you.
line right now. Okay. All right.
line.
Let's finish our list here, guys. We got
I'm
a
not
couple
even
more.
joking. Copyright.
Night of the Living Dead. Who's seen it?
I have, yeah. That's classic.
Derek's actually seen this one.
Yeah.
I
That's
find
classic.
it.
There was one year around Halloween, my sister and I, when we were both still living with my parents, were like, hey, let's watch some old scary movies. You know, let's try and find some really old ones that are cheesy and won't be that scary. This did not fit that category, we found out
It's good.
as we were
It's
watching
scary,
it.
yeah.
It's a disturbing movie.
Yeah.
It was very creepy.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and I
Very
think-
ahead of its time.
Yeah, since the copyright lapsed, actually, you can kind of see it anywhere because
Really?
like it's all on YouTube.
It's on
Like
YouTube.
any streaming site would have it because they don't, they could just host it. Yeah, so
And
definitely
so
check it out.
The place you can go check out the cemetery is north of, is it Pittsburgh?
Yes, Pittsburgh.
Yes.
That's the one from from the beginning where the guy's like, they're coming for you, buddy.
Yes,
Yeah.
there's like a house, a dilapidated house. There's a very tall tombstone that the lady with the blonde hair, she leans on it. She's running from the zombie behind her. Do they ever mention? Did they say zombie? Yeah, they say zombies in this movie. Or
I don't think they do. They just say like dead people.
Yeah.
are
The
walking
dead are
around.
dead.
rising. The recently deceased seem to be rising.
Yep.
Yeah.
Evans City Cemetery near Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. It's on Franklin Road. All right. Let's skip the next one. We'll come back to that in a second because this sort of sequel to Night of the Living Dead was Dawn of the Dead, which came out in 1978.
I should do a flow chart for the Night of the Living Dead and Dawn of the Dead movies too.
Can you include the Return of the Living Dead fork?
Yeah, like there will be
Wasn't there like
that. There's like 4 forks.
What was
for
the one that came out
series.
around when we were in high school?
Oh, jeez.
No, that was another. That was
Snyder's remake?
the comedy one, right?
No. Are you talking Shaun of the Dead?
Shaun of the Dead.
That was later. That
Dawn
was
of
part of
the
That
Dead
was
remake
great.
did come
Right.
out, I think,
Diary
we
of
were
the
in high
Dead?
school.
Land of the Dead.
There's a bunch of dead stuff.
Okay, thank you.
Studio of the Dead.
This, by the way, Dawn of the Dead was my very first in-theater R-rated movie. My parents did not know I saw it, so my uncle took me to see this movie. I was with my cousin. We went in a station wagon to a drive-in theater, and we fell asleep on top of the car watching this movie, and he woke us up by sneaking out and grabbing our feet and shaking us. And I was terrified. Terrified. The very next day was Saturday. I got up on Saturday morning to watch Super Friends, and they had the episode of the zombies. And it, I was like, it was
The
a
last thing you needed.
It was such a terrible weekend. I have never recovered. Anyways,
Really, Jim? You're an easy scare. I didn't know that.
oh, imagine that. Monroeville Mall outside Pittsburgh in Monroeville. Anyways, the one we skipped is right here in Southern California. One of my favorites. Anybody?
Poltergeist?
There
Poltergeist,
he
yes.
is.
Cheeseman, we've gone up to this one, haven't we? If you're watching...
No, we went to the ET house. I don't think we've gone to the
It's in the
Poltergeist.
same neighborhood, isn't it? Or kind of close.
They look very similar on screen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't recall the Poltergeist one.
It's at 4... I do know that they were both filmed the same summer by Steven Spielberg. Tobe Hooper was the director of Poltergeist, but it was very much a Spielberg film. Anyways, 4267 Roxbury Street in Simi Valley. You can go see the Freeling House. It did not get sucked into a little hole like they did at the end of the movie.
Oh, that's a relief.
Yep. All right, so just a couple more. My most favorite horror movie. Well, not really.
I feel like you've said that several times tonight already.
It kind of is.
Yeah.
Go to Santa Cruz and relive the Lost Boys. The Santa Cruz Boardwalk. They have the merry-go-round. They have the cable car thing. They have...
They have shirtless saxophone
That
players
was gonna be my
slathered
question.
in oil.
He's in a...
blasting that.
He's touring now with a group.
Good.
A group of
I think
vampires.
And maybe while you're in Santa Cruz, taking a sporting event featuring the local college Banana Slugs.
What are you talking about?
UC Santa Cruz, their mascot is the Banana Slugs.
What?
UC Santa Cruz Banana Slugs. That's the mascot of their sports teams. Fun fact.
I feel like they missed some kind of opportunity there, but that's great.
Have you been to Santa Cruz?
Yeah.
It's drop out of the world type. It's awesome there. It's like, I mean, it sounds like I'm promoting something that I'm really not. But
Jim loves drugs.
no, that's not what I was saying. No, I just like the whole laid back feeling of that area. It's so great. All right.
But the rides there close early, at least at certain times of the year.
Because of the
Santa Cruz-
vampires.
Oh, he's talking
Right.
about
Yeah.
the
You don't want to be out
Sun
of
goes
the
down,
boardwalk,
vampires
though.
come out, man.
They have to. You can't have kids encouraged to be out after sunset.
And as we finish up, who saw the first season of American Horror Story?
Not me.
I did.
And did you like it?
Yes, I did.
And so, what is our final item on the
The
list?
Murder House from American Horror Story season 1. You can see it, and
Where?
in 1120 Westchester Place.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's over in the middle part of Los Angeles.
Yeah.
It's just they used the exteriors, but I think they did end up moving to an interior location.
I would
that they
imagine.
built.
When you're filming inside of a house, it's usually better to shoot on a set, on a soundstage, instead of in an actual house, because
Yeah.
you just don't have room for all
Yeah.
the equipment.
And all of these locations will be listed on our website. We will try to link out to where you can find every single one of them. Remember, be polite if you do go chase down some of these places. If there's any other places that you guys know of, let us know. We would love to add to the list. Because
Can they share pictures with us?
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Send it
Just
to us.
okay. Don't harass anyone. If it's a house that people live in, don't pester them. I mean, maybe just drive by and you can take a photo of the house and then leave. Or if it's Halloween time and the people in the Halloween house have stuff set up where you can go take
Trick or
pictures
treat.
on the porch, then it's probably okay. But
Don't go out there being an a-hole and be
Yeah.
like, the con guy told me to do it.
Just saying.
Ring the doorbell. Go for it. I did not say that.
All right. Speaking
Cheese
of,
on the couch told me to do this. What are you talking about, man?
so the Murder House is not actually a movie; it's a TV show. So let's transition into the last part of our show. We're going to be talking about television shows.
Let's talk about this very quickly because we're almost out of time.
Yes. So
Horror dead?
I'm going to throw it to you guys, and please discuss what do you think. Where are we at in television horror right now?
Well, it's what, year 100 of The Walking Dead and year
Something like that.
150
I quit
of
watching
Supernatural.
Dead a long time
Okay.
ago.
Who here has quit watching The Walking Dead?
I'm halfway
much.
up because it's filling up my DVR right
All
now.
right. And who here has been a fan of Supernatural but isn't really watching that anymore either?
Now,
I watch it like every sixth episode.
Okay.
I'm way behind, so I'm still only in season 5 of Supernatural, which is
The original final
the
season.
Yes!
original final
Good
season.
seasons.
So
I mean, it was still like fun to watch after that, but those were the best because
Right.
that was Eric Kripke's original.
It had a
his
vision.
original
season
story
five,
structure.
multi-season arc.
Progressive
So
motion.
I'm still a big Super Hulock guy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Super Hulock is
get
a
it.
collection of fans who are fans of Supernatural, Doctor Who, and
Sherlock. Yeah.
I have never heard that.
It's a thing.
a
It's
thing.
mostly
Why
made up
those-
of teenage girls.
Why those?
And me.
Why those three? Is it because
I don't know. There's something really fun about them.
It seems
the leads are dreamy guys. The leads are dreamy
not anymore on
bachelors?
Doctor Who. Now it's a dreamy lady.
But I've also not finished the most recent series of Doctor Who, partly because I don't know, the DVR I was using just kind of sucked and deleted them.
Anyways,
But yeah, like
talk
some of
about
these
this
shows.
later.
yeah, Doctor Who, next show. But let me go through this list real quick about
Yeah.
these are shows that were on and they were kind of like leading the charge on TV. The originals: Z Nation, Teen Wolf, Vampire Diaries, Bates
X.
Motel. Love that show. Hannibal, Ash vs. Evil Dead, Channel Zero, The Exorcist series. So many shows have been canceled, and this is just a
I
partial
didn't realize
list.
Ash vs. Evil Dead was over.
Yeah. Oh,
Some of these were really strong, and they just wrapped them up.
Season 1
But
of
did
The
they-
Exorcist was really good.
Yeah.
Season 2, I was like, I don't care about anybody anymore. And it had John Cho. Like, I love him, but
but
You
Derek,
know-
to your go ahead.
It's not on this list, but you know what horror series has like resurrected and come back and possessed other shows is Constantine.
Oh, and
Really?
He has lived. What show is he coming on now?
It was
Legends of Tomorrow.
Legends
Yeah.
of Tomorrow,
Okay.
and then he was on Arrow, and then like the animated movies. So he keeps coming back, and there's no stopping him even after that first season cut short.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
pretty cool. But the thing is, like, Derek, you just said a lot of these shows have run their course. That's the point.
Yeah.
A lot of the horror shows have run their course. Where are we right now? If you had to gauge where we are in horror on TV.
I think it's kind of tough because with television now you have to compete. There's the whole vibe of elevated horror in movies where the horror represents something. What does it really mean? What does It Follows really mean? What does Get Out really mean? What is Us? What is it really down to? And so what is that? How does that reflect on television? Like, yeah, the zombies are like Us and maybe, but you know, how many times can you run from them? And how many times can you get away with not showing zombies? And how brutal can you get? So it might just be like the elevation of it and like finding that new spin that movies have kind of successfully found by like toning down the scare jump elements and trying to be a bit more about
is-
like this is, you know, something like if this remains unchecked, this is going to be a real scary thing in your life. Kind of thing.
Which it's kind of ironic because in so many areas, TV has changed the game and become a lot stronger and more cinematic.
Absolutely.
And people are like loving TV and not going to movies as much unless it's major event stuff like, you know, all the big superhero movies and all that. But and that's been something people have talked about in the entertainment world, whereas it sounds like horror is kind of doing the opposite. Would you say?
yeah. I think it's improving in film
Yeah.
rather than on
Can
television.
I read you what Katie has sent to us?
Yes.
Katie,
Yes.
who is sick, but she is participating. She goes, basically, I am excited for the new Twilight Zone and
Yeah.
Sabrina Season 2. Bates Motel ended terribly, she thinks. I liked it. But I don't think horror TV is dead. I think it's evolving and changing. I think zombies are on their way out. I agree. And it's going to be all supernatural, paranormal stuff that gets the focus right now.
Yeah. Well, speaking of that, though, let's talk about what is doing really well in horror, and that's stuff from streaming services, things on
Haunting of
Netflix
Hill
and Hulu.
House.
Like,
Yeah.
The Haunting of Hill House, Stranger Things, of course, still did really well.
Sabrina.
Yeah. And she mentioned the new Twilight Zone. Castle Rock did pretty well on Hulu.
I think it's coming back for Season 2, yeah.
Yeah.
Black Mirror.
Yeah, and do we count that? It's kind
It's
of
it's pretty horrifying.
Sometimes.
some
yeah.
of
Yeah.
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 Did you watch
So-
the Choose Your Own Adventure Black Mirror episode?
Yes.
Bandersnatch.
Bandersnatch.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
All right. So, but what about, and then of course, my favorite horror movie
The Lost Boys TV show.
is getting a TV reboot, which I'm not super confident in. Just for one thing, it's CW. Nothing against CW, but
You know
That
those
means-
vampires will be hot.
Yeah,
And
it's just gonna
more
be
Tyler Posey.
shirtless
Soapy
saxophone
scenes.
players.
Yeah.
it's Tyler. Is it Tyler Posey? He's the new Michael in the series.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Let me make a note about the top 3 we have here, and they're all Netflix shows: Stranger Things, Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, and The Haunting of Hill House. Haunting of Hill House was awesome because it
Amazing.
At the end of it, both Bree and I were like, "Why did this horror show give me feels?" You know,
Yeah.
and they're doing a whole kind of like American Horror Story does, like a whole different story for season 2. So it's not going to follow the same characters. It'll be a new
Except
story.
it seems that they are accomplishing it a whole lot better, if I may
Right,
say so.
sure.
Because they're planning out the whole season and giving it a beginning, middle, and end. Whereas American Horror Story, from what I've read, they don't plan out everywhere the season's going to go, and some of it is kind of made up along the way.
Well, that seems ill-advised.
Yeah. Although that's
it-
what Stephen King does when he writes a novel.
It feels very
Oh,
disjointed.
you can't tell.
Yeah.
The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, we really dug the first season. Like, we started watching it and we were like, oh, this show's really satanic. And then
Yeah.
we realized that, as you were saying, like, the satanic aspects were, like, really commentary on religion and society and that sort of thing.
Did you see the Christmas episode?
Also,
The Christmas
Satan is the
episode
bad
was
guy.
bomb, dude. The Christmas episode was great. What did you say?
I would say also Satan is the bad guy.
Satan
still.
is also
Yeah.
still the bad guy, even in this, like, satanic witch cult.
Yeah.
As well, he should be.
And Stranger Things,
Amazing.
always killing it. You know, season 2, people were like, "Oh, it was a departure from the feeling of season 1," but you can't just make season 1 again. So you know, it's a trick to try to recapture the magic. But
I felt they ended with the same exact scene from 2 seasons, but you know what are you gonna do?
yeah, but it's yeah,
Okay,
but
I
yeah.
loved it though. I loved it. It's come back
But
July
it's-
4th.
Yeah, and that's fun to have it come out during the summer too, instead of in October. So
They did a little bit of the Walking Dead thing where they're like, let's put the scatter the characters and all that, which was a little different. Like Walking Dead was better when the main characters were together, and Stranger Things 2 was still great, but they did kind of scatter.
I
the
didn't like
characters a little
11 being
bit.
gone all of second season.
Yeah.
But I
by
did like
himself.
the Dustin and Steve type stuff.
Dustin
That
and
was-
Steve.
He's wearing the Dustin hat.
That was
Yeah.
Dustin
awesome.
and Steve together was great.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, I love that. I love
That
that.
was so much fun.
Anything else about TV before we kind of wrap up? And I just want to give us a general feeling. Is horror on TV dead, or is it still
No.
killing it?
I agree with Derek that it's evolving. And I agree with
That
you
was Katie.
That's
Give
Katie.
Katie
That was
credit.
Katie, yeah.
I was a little
yeah.
more negative about TV.
I just took
Yeah.
a woman's words and attributed it to you.
Yeah,
but
Wow.
I'm awful.
Wow.
I agree with Katie.
I wouldn't
welcome
be
to
surprised if we.
2019.
Katie's probably the smartest one when it comes to horror on TV right now. I'm just gonna tell you.
I think we're gonna see more like people taking movies, like they'll probably make Nightmare on Elm Street the series or other stuff. They'll take some older things, or they
Yep.
could expand it or something like that further,
So-
or do different things. But I think there needs to be even more scary kind of it.
Yeah.
I know you were talking about, but it doesn't feel like, because Stranger Things feels good, like anybody can watch it, but there's not enough like scary where it's like, oh man, that gave me the chills. Like not in like a weird Texas Chainsaw kind of way, but in a way that, you know.
Well, Haunting of
feel-
Hill House.
Yeah,
accomplished
that gave me the
that.
chills.
Yeah.
Yeah, the chills in the feels.
Especially when you look up like all the Easter eggs
Writing
and then
that
you
one
go
down,
back
too.
and you're
Yes.
like, oh my gosh, this is
No,
scary.
I had to keep rewinding it because he kept like, there is a freaking ghost reflection
They
right
did.
there.
Wait. The thing I loved about it was they did have ghosts all through
Oh,
the
yeah.
and all the background. But you know what they were supposed to do is have the backstory of a ghost at the beginning of every episode. Budget cut that out, but they left the ghosts in.
Nice.
They removed the tombstones, but they left the ghosts.
They left the bodies.
Anyways, we are wrapping up with this last round. What is your prediction? What are we going to see this next year coming up on TV? Anybody have any predictions for horror? Anything? I think you hit the big one. Streaming.
Yeah.
Yeah, the streaming services are pouring money into everything now, and horror is going to be no different. They're going to span all of the genres, and they're going to have their for example, we just finished Umbrella Academy.
Oh,
that looks
what'd you
good.
think about that?
I really enjoyed it. I like it a lot.
I was snoozing through the first episode, so I have to get hooked.
It's a bit of a slow burn,
Yeah.
but it's a different kind of superhero story.
A lot of streaming shows do that though. They don't have to grab you as hard with the pilot as
Yep.
actually regular network and
the
cable
whole-
stuff would need to because you can just roll right into the next episode right away instead
Right.
of, oh, I don't know if I want to watch this again next week.
Yeah,
You know?
and you've already got the whole season
Exactly.
right there. They don't have to.
They know
test
what
it.
they're doing. Yeah.
I think I think it's not on life support. I think horror TV is around for at least for a few more years, and it's not that it's going away. It's just that we lost a whole lot of shows that have kind of defined the genre, and it's like you said, it's evolving. It's becoming something new.
Yeah.
I mean, you only have time to really watch a few anyway. So
Yep.
if they make
Right.
like 3 really good ones, then watch those.
That's it.
Can I say my wish list?
Yes.
I hope someday, maybe it's me, I would love to see a TV version of Scott Snyder's American Vampire, which is a wonderful comic if you haven't read it.
Wow.
And I think it would make a really good TV show. He wrote it with Stephen King for some of the early issues, but
Nice.
I think it seems like it would grab the same audience that Walking Dead did it first.
I do love Scott.
Speaking of that, if you've ever read Joe Hill,
No.
his comic Lock and Key, which he's Stephen King's son, but used that name so he could get his own success. But it's got some scary elements, and that I've read is getting developed into a series.
Well, they've been trying to develop that. I think it's starting and sputtering and starting and sputtering.
What's the premise of Lock and Key?
I'll have to explain after we get off. It's a little complicated, but there's a house and there are keys that do magic things.
Oh,
and-
nice.
But you are.
and
Wait,
they're
I think it is
good and
getting some
evil.
traction. I think it
Yeah.
is going on. All right. So that has wrapped up that part of the show. I forgot one thing. Jaws, location. Tell us about it real quick.
It was filmed several different locations, as we know, as Martha's Vineyard was kind of the main spot of it. Spielberg really wanted it to be on the ocean, so they really did a lot on there. They did do kind of like the underwater shark cage scene. I think they did that in the tanks at Universal. Ben, do you know for sure on that?
I think you're right.
I think it was there.
Yeah.
And then what's interesting is they wanted one more jump scare, when the head pokes out of the boat.
Mm-hmm.
And that was actually done in somebody's pool here in LA. So you could probably look that up online, know the location of that, and be like, this is the house that they filmed that. And it may have been the same house of the editor. I'm not totally sure, but it was edited here at somebody's house.
Let the
so-
hunt begin.
Yeah.
Yes.
Behind this
Begin.
pool.
Anyways, I didn't want us to end without getting Jaws, one of the biggest movie monsters of
But
all
I've always
time.
wanted to go to
Yeah.
Martha's Vineyard and check that out because they have Jaws Fest, all that kind of stuff. So if you're a big Jaws fan, look up Jaws Fest, and they have a lot of that going on. I got to get out there eventually.
There you go.
Thank you guys for tuning in this week to the Scare Guy. Please be following us on YouTube, be following us on social media. Speaking of which, where can we find everybody?
You can find me on Twitter at ConGuyDerek.
You can find me on Twitter at JT Hummus.
You can find me on any social media at Ben Cleaver. That's BenKliewer.
And we have a big announcement to make about Ben Cleaver coming up soon, but we can't talk about it yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Stop
yeah.
talking about it.
All right, I'm wanting to whistle. All right. I don't know what that means. I'm making them salivate.
Luke, where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitter at CheeseOnCouch and also on the ScareGuy.com.
You can find me at Jim Fry LA. I used to say Con Guy Jim. I'm transitioning over to Jim Fry LA, and be following us at thescareguy.com. Also, our sister site, brother site, what do we call it? TheConGuy.com. We are the scarier side of TheConGuy.com. Thank you guys for showing up tonight, and we will see you guys next time.
You want it all and you can have.
From producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire Popcorn Talk Network, we would like to thank you for tuning in. For questions or comments, be sure to visit popcorntalk.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of the Popcorn Talk Network. The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Popcorn Talk Network or its owners or principals.